The more you paint, the better you get. The more you do it, the better you get it. And even if you don't know what you're going to paint or do, just come into the studio and do something. My name's Kathy Best from Kathy Best Art. I started art in about 2008 when I joined my local art group. So on a Wednesday night, once a week, I'd go to an art class. So that's where it all began. From then on, I started wanting to paint more and more, and around 5 years ago, I took my art more seriously and started to exhibit more, learn from more tutors, and go online and set up a website and put my artwork out there, and just really got on with painting. There's two styles that I paint. I paint contemporary landscapes, which I might use a photo that I've taken on travel and loosely use the photo to paint, not necessarily the same colours as the photo, but just the shapes and forms from it. And I also do abstract art where I let the canvas speak to me. So each mark that I put on the canvas, I will decide the next mark from that and the size, and that's usually where I would do a first layer fairly quickly, like just cover the canvas, and then the second layer is to try and problem solve what looks good, what doesn't look good, and how to improve it. My theme or my motto is I see the world and I paint it. So a lot of my work comes from what I've observed, what I'm thinking about, my travels, walking around the city, and memories as well as a child, out camping or picnics by the river, that sort of thing. When I paint, usually I'm paint in a group situation, so I go to various art groups during the week. We all get together and we're in the zone and painting. Before I go there, I either walk there or catch public transport, so I've got to be a bit organised. Because when I'm out and about, I'm always looking at the angles of buildings or the trees, the curves in the trees, the colours of the sky, and not only the tree itself, but the negative space, so the spaces in between, and what might make a good composition. I'm a thinker, like to think a lot and strategize and problem solve. That's what goes into my art. So I started painting quickly, and then it slows down, and then I have to give it some thought and think about what might make it look better or worse, and if there's enough space to rest on the piece, or is the piece too busy. I also play board games, which is a bit like multiple paths to victory, so that's a similar thing. Yes, definitely. It is a puzzle, and the second stage of the painting is a puzzle, and how to solve it, how to reconcile it, how to know that it's finished and make it look good. I was painting with art groups, as I said. Since that time I've been painting by myself, so I've had to trust myself. So this last 6 months I've had a lot of time to paint, and also I've had to trust my own instincts rather than that of others. So that's been quite a change. One of the hurdles was good enough to keep, or whether I should wreck it, destroy it, and do another layer and start again, or like when to stop, and some of the finishing touches, what should stay, what should go. With the painting with the groups, not only do you have the artists within the group, and we all speak and have a look at each other's art and talk about, oh, that art looks like an artist, some famous artist. You might want to have a look at their work, and generally we have a tutor as well. So the tutor will come around and give you some tips on your work and what's working, and what if we put a yellow spot here, or got a red spot there, maybe it should go somewhere else as well. So you're always learning. So when you paint in a group, you turn up and you're spending those 2 hours, 3 hours painting, so you're there to paint. While you're painting, we're talking about art and other artists and exhibitions people have been to, or documentaries they've watched during the week, exhibitions that are coming up that you can apply for. So there's a lot of art talk going on as well as the painting itself. I definitely recommend it. It's great painting in a group, and I thought if I didn't have the groups, I would want to paint in a studio space rather than painting at home in solitude. Set a time, so a date and a time, like a regular weekly event, a space to do it. Probably good to have a tutor, and then whether your group does their own thing where people can do watercolor, oil paint, acrylic, and then you get a mix of seeing what different people are doing and how they're using their materials. Or another way of running a group is to have like everyone doing abstracts, so then you do have a theme going, and it's probably more like-minded people together. Best advice I've received is probably brush miles. So the more you paint, the better you get. The more you do it, the better you get it. And even if you don't know what you're going to paint or do, just come into the studio and do something. It's been fantastic working with ColourSpace. Always excited to receive the photos from them of my work on a wall somewhere out in the big world. So yeah, really good. They can find me. I have a website. It's kathy-best.com, and on Facebook and Instagram at Kathy Best Art.